Welcome to the channel, guys. My name is Jess. So Bitcoin has rallied to a new all-time high of $104,000. Let's dive into the video today to talk about the recent rally, as well as the potential for a continued bullish move and where that might take us, as well as the possibility of a correction here and what its effects might be on Bitcoin and the alt market. Before we get into all that though, make sure you guys smash that like button and subscribe to the channel to get regular Bitcoin analysis every Wednesday and Saturday. If you're after even more content, be sure to check out my free Telegram channel, and if you're interested in my VIP channel, you can get more details over here. VIP gives you exclusive access to my personal trading setups with exact entry points, targets, and stop losses. Okay guys, so diving right into the 4-hour time frame here, let's really quickly talk about the recent price action before we dive into our analysis. So moving into the last week, if you guys did not know, we had been experiencing some very boring and very sideways choppy price action, essentially between this level of support here at 93.5 and our upper range of resistance at $98.5 thousand. Now just this morning, we finally had a very, very positive indication of a potential break here of $99,000, being a breakout of this 4-hour RSI downtrend that we'd been experiencing for the last 2 to 3 week period, right? It had taken us through this bearish divergence that we had on the daily time frame, reaching $99.6 thousand, as well as the steadily decreasing momentum that we had over the last couple of weeks. So this morning we had an indication that we finally were seeing enough of a bullish momentum shift to push the price above $99,000, which is exactly what we saw. And then Bitcoin went on to fulfill the entire measured move of this horizontal channel break, taking us up 5.6% to $104,000, actually very slightly above 104, and going all the way up to 104.5 thousand. So let's dive into the analysis now. Let's talk about the potential for a continued bullish move here into price discovery, as well as zooming into short time frames and talking about the potential for both scenario, the upwards move and the downwards move, what to look out for, and then moving on to altcoins. Before we get into the rest of the video, guys, let's hear a quick word from our sponsor, BTC.D, where you can get 15% off all of your trading fees and up to $5,500 in sign-up rewards when you create your free account using the link down in my description box. BTC.D is an emerging cryptocurrency exchange committed to providing you with a secure, convenient, and highly functional trading and investment platform. Available across all countries as a non-KYC exchange, get global access to over 150 trading pairs with minimal fees on both spot and futures contracts. Join today to get $5,500 in sign-up rewards and get 15% off all of your trading fees by signing up using the link in my bio or by using the code 1GG3 when you create your account. So starting off on the higher time frame charts, we're going to stay on the 4-hour time frame here and quickly talk about the key structures that we have here on this higher time frame chart. So we already know on the 4-hour time frame we had that horizontal channel, right? The recent breakout of which has led to a rally of the measured move being $104,000. But if we zoom out here on the 4-hour time frame, what we can actually see is a much larger structure here that has developed on Bitcoin, being this uptrend against a very clear horizontal level of resistance, being that prior all-time high at 99.6, and thus an ascending triangle structure here, right? We had our third validation point this Tuesday, while we were within that horizontal chop zone. So this structure is a bullish one, right? We can see clear accumulation and absorption of the sell wall experienced at these upper levels of resistance, which eventually, as long as the uptrend remains validated, leads to a bullish break. And that measured move here is actually much larger than the original sort of horizontal chop zone breakout that we have here. So the measured move takes us from that very first retest of that upper range of resistance down to the trend line, and applied to the breakout point takes Bitcoin all the way up to $108,000, right? So that's another 3 to 4% rally from where the current all-time high at $104,000 is. So technically, looking at this chart here on a 4-hour time frame, things are still looking really, really bullish, right? This chart essentially tells us that after we've broken out of that upper range of resistance, while Bitcoin remains above the breakout point and above that level of resistance to support flip, ending at $98.5 thousand, we can expect that even if we do have short time frame corrections, the overall target for this breakout, while it remains valid, should take us to that upper level, the measured move target of $108,000. Now, of course, if we break back into the structure over here and especially lose that high time frame uptrend, that is clearly going to be invalidated, right? We can no longer expect that move and instead expect a further continuation, most likely to go on to retest the prior low within that uptrend, being $90,000 500, right? That is the sort of higher time frame analysis that we're expecting here. So this is the bullish case scenario. We have our validation points, and we have our bearish case scenario being the breakdown of our uptrend, losing this low, and then going on to retest that secondary low in the uptrend. So let's zoom into the shorter time frame charts now and talk about what's more immediate and more likely in terms of, the short time frame price action. There isn't too much because the breakout is still very, very fresh. So we're going to have to zoom into a very small time frame. And if these charts sort of develop, let's say on an hourly chart, then that'll be a Telegram update that I'll make. So definitely go and join my Telegram. You get a lot more Bitcoin updates over there. Zooming into the 5-minute chart, we can see that ever since Bitcoin sort of topped out or ended the rally at 104,500, we've entered a sort of short time frame horizontal chop zone, right? We have our key level of resistance at that candle close there for that rally at 103.6, and we have our key base of support here at 101,300, right? We can see this clear support resistance flip that facilitated the continued rally, and clear sell side liquidity here at 100,900, and we've got 2 current retests of support. So within this chop zone, we can see we are in the middle of sort of, experiencing decreasing momentum as we chop sideways. So it's very likely, looking at this, since we've lost this sort of midline support, that we go on to potentially retest at that base once again on the short time frame. But essentially, while Bitcoin is in this sort of chop zone, the price action is looking very, very neutral, right? We're simply sort of consolidating, right? Buyers are establishing, whether or not we're waiting to see whether buyers are able to establish long-term support and continued accumulation at these levels, and also, waiting for an exhibition of the selling pressure that we're seeing at these levels as well. But essentially, all we need to really look out for on this short time frame chart here is if we break above this level of resistance and move above buy side liquidity or that upper range high at 104,500, we can then expect a bullish continuation into that full measured move target on the 4-hour time frame, taking us to $108,000. On the flip side, if we fall below this level of support, and particularly sell side liquidity here, right at the end of that liquidity zone, which is coincidentally also a volume gap, right? We fall below that volume gap, we're very likely to then experience a continued bearish correction, right, on the short time frame, taking Bitcoin to very likely go on to retest the breakout point for the horizontal channel or the ascending triangle, whichever guys you want to look out for, at 99,000.6 to 98.5k. That is that sort of support zone that we're looking to make sure that Bitcoin can establish as, instead of a resistance to support, a successful support resistance split before we can facilitate a continued bullish move in that scenario, right? So 2 key scenarios here and very, very clear trigger points on the short time frame. If we take a look at the 5-hour time frame RSI, once again, we can see that sort of decreasing momentum. So if we see that shift here, pushing us above that sort of RSI downtrend, we can see that the probabilities then in the next retest of range high resistance has a higher likelihood of breaking out, and we're more likely to see that continued move to 107 as opposed to a break downwards. So that is everything that I have to say on Bitcoin, guys. Let's move on to talk about the rest of the cryptocurrency market and Total 3. So if we take a look at the recent rally here on Bitcoin, we can see that it was pretty much a Bitcoin only rally, right? The last 20 hours here from Bitcoin has been exceptionally bullish. The green candles have majorly surpassed any sort of bearish price action exhibited in that first half of the 20 hours. But if we take a look at Total 3, we can't exactly say the same, right? Total 3 has pretty much remained stagnant over the last day, right? We've had a little bit of a drop there, and the green candles in the last 8 hours haven't really been able to push past that initial drop. And if we take a look at Bitcoin dominance as well, we can see a fair bit of a spike back upwards within the sort of weekly candle here, moving from the low of 54.9% all the way back up to 56%, right? Pretty big move there from Bitcoin dominance. And so that makes this sort of next segment of price action from Bitcoin pretty important for altcoins, because if we take a look at Total 3 as well on the weekly chart, we can see that this week we retested the all-time high for the Total 3 market cap, right, at 1.13 trillion, and we're currently, looks like, rejecting off that level just a little bit. So as we decrease in Bitcoin dominance and Bitcoin sort of enters this sideways chop zone on the short time frame, if Bitcoin sees a dip it's very likely, or it's more likely than not here, that as total 3 approaches this level of resistance at the all-time high major psychological level, that we experience a little bit of sell-off behavior from total 3 as well, right? Probably, very likely, a little bit of a dip, and I am looking for a dip to the prior high weekly candle close at 1.05 trillion, or to this sort of wick over here at 1.09. So 2 levels of key support there to be looking at total 3, and it also depends on, of course, where Bitcoin is retesting as total 3 retests those levels of support as well. And opposingly, if we see a continued rally here, as Bitcoin dominance drops, as Bitcoin dominance rallies, if it continues to rally here, it is likely that once again this rally is a Bitcoin only rally, and that in this correction money rotates back out of Bitcoin and into altcoins as we go on to retrace support on Bitcoin. And that is when we see total 3 breakout of 1.13 trillion. So really, really important price action here. Kind of important to be watching out for, just for the reaction and the sort of changes in Bitcoin dominance, particularly moving into that chop zone. So if we see a rally there, watch the rally and potentially, at the end of that rally, that rotation for total 3, or opposingly, if we see a short-term frame correction here on Bitcoin to retest the breakout as support, that correction here from total 3 as we approach this level of really high time frame and super important resistance at 1.13 trillion. Alrighty guys, that is all the analysis that I have for you today. If you enjoyed the video or you learned something, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. If you're after even more content, be sure to check out my free Telegram for daily updates as well as crypto and economic news. And if you're interested in my VIP channel, you can get more details over here. VIP gives you exclusive access to my personal trading setups with exact entry points, targets, and stop losses. And if you are a trader, don't forget to sign up down below to BitUnext to get 15% off all of your trading fees. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!